Afternoon. There is one sense in which we can logically, rationally speak of ethics as a guide to personal rather than social improvement or betterment. A sense in which we can speak of personal ethical obligations rather than social ones. And that's if we do it in an if-then context. For example, if I want to achieve X, then I have to do Y in order to do that, to get there. We use this method of thinking all the time. If I want to improve my health, I have to quit smoking, I have to lose weight, I have to exercise more, and so on. We do this continually. And we can speak the same way in terms of reaching the Stoic ideal. If I want to achieve the Stoic ideal of apatheia, of not caring about externals, then I have to do the following. Now, first, let's review Plato's analogy of the chariot. This is really important. Plato described the person as if he was a chariot. A chariot, the horses, and the driver. The chariot represented the physical body, right? The horses are the drives, the emotions, the instincts. The driver is the intellect. Now, first of all, none of these parts are bad, all right? You have to have the chariot or you're not alive. You have to have the body. You have to have the horses, the will, the drives, the desires, or the chariot doesn't move. But you have to have the driver who is in control, or the chariot careens off the road, or it goes anywhere, or nowhere if one horse decides to go one way and another goes the other way. So all of these are good. Each has its own function. The chariot carries the rider. The horses provide the impetus, the movement. The driver keeps it all under control. Now, for the Stoic, that driver has always got to be in control. We're not Buddhists. The desires are not bad. They just have to be controlled. We're not ascetics. We're not early Christian ascetics. The emotions are not bad. They're not evil. Desire is not an evil thing sent from Satan. It's part of who we are. We just control it. Now, if I want to learn to treat external objects and events as unimportant, and I don't mean just intellectually, but at the gut level, then I have to start treating them that way in each given circumstance. If I want to internalize the belief that wealth is not important, not in and of itself, then I have to act in ways, again, in each specific circumstance, that I have to act in a way that doesn't treat that wealth as important. In other words, if I want the intellect to be in control, the reasoning faculty, as Epictetus called it, to be in control, then I must take those actions, I must make those choices that encourage and reinforce that. It's too easy to slip into the old ways of thinking and acting. To do otherwise is as foolish as trying to achieve better health by avoiding exercise and eating the wrong foods whenever we want to. You can't have the one without the other. If I want to run a 4-minute mile, I have to train for it. If I don't train for it, I won't do it. In fact, it might even be better, for example, to abstain from purchasing or even owning things of monetary value, at least at first. A hedonistic lifestyle is hardly conducive to an attitude of indifference. Now, it's not that nice things are bad in themselves or crude things better. Poverty is no more a virtue than wealth. It's just that when we start allowing ourselves the luxury of extravagance, again, at least at first, We tend to develop an attachment to these things until we've learned better. This is just human nature. We have a lifetime of habits we're trying to overcome. And for this very reason, some of the early Stoic teachers recommended that students initially no longer associate with their old friends. In the same way that a person who is convalescing shouldn't be hanging around people that are sick. Now, several times in this book, in the ethics chapters, I give specific examples of how a person wanting to cultivate the Stoic attitude should act in a given situation. And that's important because all actions are within a context. We don't ever act in a vacuum. This doesn't mean that these actions are some kind of imperative, something that either the law should impose or that we should say, everyone must do this. No, you must do this if this is the mental attitude you're trying to adopt, trying to internalize. And they're common sense suggestions, common sense conclusions. How can I be a man of integrity if I'm dishonest to those around me? How can I be a friend and yet betray a person who thinks of me as a friend? If so, I've lost the character of a friend. Now, look, I have to be honest. Is this going to come across as inspiring as, say, let justice roll down from the mountaintop, or the Sermon on the Mount? Of course not. But we have to ask, are we trying to preach rhetorical exercises? Are we practicing rhetoric? Or are we trying to think rationally? Emotion should not determine the truth of a proposition, but only the degree to which we commit to it.